Hey, it's Adam Zdroik of RotoWire, and I'm going to be going over some so rare stuff. How do you start playing? You saw the video of why you should play, or you just want to test out so rare a little bit. This is another version of Undercooked so rare strategies. And if you want the RotoWire information, rotowire.com/soccer trial, free 48-hour trial. I'll be getting into some of the RotoWire content. I'll be getting into so rare data a little bit because when you play so rare, you got to use, there are different sites where you can use information. SorareData is one of them, the most popular ones. And be getting into some of these sites, getting into how to build your teams. So you sign up for an account, don't even need money right now, but you're signed up and you got this on your screen. You're picking between soccer, MLB, NBA. You're into soccer and you got to select these players. It's like, what's going on? What do I do here? Right now in the summer, there's no European leagues going on. I don't know anything about MLS. That's fine. Eventually, once the European leagues start up, August, whenever those get up and going, you'll be able to create those teams. You don't have to start when those leagues start. You can start in the middle of the summer. You can start whenever, and you can start these free teams up. Of course, Sorare likes to improve their content, improve their onboarding process a little bit. So maybe this is going to be different in a couple months than from when I'm talking right now. But as it stands, we have the amateur. It's what we call as amateur. These tournaments are, and so you got these 5 players here, and you got a cap of 400. So what I do here, so I guess my initial strategy for these free contests, these amateur contests, where you get to pick 8 players within 400, a salary of 400. So my strategy, personal strategy here, I usually go 2 cheaper goalkeepers, and I alternate. Make sure they alternate home and away. So every week, every time there's matches in MLS or in any of these European leagues, you'll get one goalkeeper that's at home. So, and then from there, I want at least one of those defenders to stack up with one of those goalkeepers. So when a clean sheet hits, you get the double clean sheet, that kind of thing. So just basic kind of fantasy sense. If you play DFS, maybe not as much FPL, but even FPL, you can stack the clean sheets, and then when you hit, you hit. When you don't hit, well, you lose, and okay, that's fine. And otherwise, probably the most important piece of these teams that you build will be, you want one guy who's just going to be awesome, who you can probably captain every game week, every time there's a match. And this is like a Kimmich type of player, a Lionel Messi type of player, where no matter what, this guy will be, even if he doesn't get a goal or assist, his stats are going to be awesome. He's going to have, his floor is better than everyone else's. If you play DFS, these are the guys with high floors, not forwards. So you're looking at set piece takers. You're getting guys who are on the ball a ton, kind of a thing. And then from there, you should have money to get at least one fairly regular goal scorer in your team as a forward. And their floors aren't as much, so I'm not. Maybe it's a little different in a league like MLS, where sometimes it's a little easier to score goals, that kind of a thing. But if you're building like a Premier League roster, I guess you're going to be spending money on Holland, and that's another situation. But just for, as we're talking here with MLS, I'll pull up an example here of, it's actually at SorareData here. So SorareData is if you're using it in conjunction with RotoWire, it's kind of almost all the information you need to check SorareData out. Former RotoWire Soccer editor Andrew Laird now works here. They got a bunch of content, but they have a couple different levels. They have a free level and they got paying levels. I currently pay for it because it kind of gives you a little bit. It gives you a lot of things. It doesn't give you like injuries. It doesn't give you great lineup predictions. Those are kind of things that RotoWire provides you with. But Sorare is everything so rare. So the main things I use. So when you go on here, free version, you'll have to sign up your account. You'll have to connect your account to Sorare. I think that if you actually want to play so rare for real, not be kind of, playing in the blind, not be playing blind kind of a thing, you kind of have to use so rare data to understand how Sorare works. That's kind of what I think here. So Kimmich, as you can see, there's a lot of numbers on the screen. I'll just say ignore most of them right now. Through time, if you use SorareData, you'll learn soon enough about what most of this stuff means. But for now, I'm just going to go over a couple of things. So you can see the price graph. These are the prices of cards, and you can see where they go from 1 week to a year to whenever. You can see the prices of these cards. This is a main one I use, the price graph on this player profile, and then scores. As you can see, so the scores is the most important thing I'm talking about right now. Is, as you can see, is Kimmich's scores here. You see a lot of green. Green is good, and this is the kind of player that I want on my rosters. If we want to go into MLS specific here, just pull up a guy like Cucho Hernandez. He is a forward, but as you can see, his floor is pretty good. And for Columbus, I mean, he's making the score sheet a bunch, but he's also doing a lot of other stuff. We can look at someone like Zayla Ryan here, also his teammate, maybe more similar to like a guy, Joshua Kimmich type here, but he still has a ton of upside, and you see a lot of green. This I'll get into scoring in another video, but this all around score is kind of what you consider the floor. If you play DFS, that's kind of what their floor is here. So as you can see, that's a good thing. The other part of how I want to incorporate, how I incorporate RotoWire here is pulling up player Jordan Morris here. We look at his scores, and we see a bunch of absences. It's okay, he was scoring goals early in the season. He had one game with 4 goals. He's starting every match, and then so you're looking at this player. Maybe you want to buy his card, kind of thing, or maybe you want to plug him into your amateur squad, kind of thing, and you see these DMPs. What does it mean here? This is where RotoWire comes into play, because we don't have the player news. SorareData doesn't have the people plugging in notes, plugging in injuries and suspensions, kind of a thing. They do have Opta injuries and whatnot, but how many people trust Opta in terms of that? But as you can see, a lot of these DMPs. Okay, yeah, you played with the United States. So let's go over to RotoWire Soccer and find out what the actual deal is with JMO here. Okay, last bit of news on him. He's dealing with a knee injury. He is away with the U.S. men's national team, so that's why he wasn't playing with Seattle. Okay, they also picked up a knee injury. That's good to know, and that's all this information is going into his price as well. Injuries will drop a player's price, kind of thing. Goalkeepers, if they lose their job, that's going to drop their price. And as you can see, we look further into his game log here. Okay, he looks like he got injured again, 25 minutes, May 28th, missed a couple games, came back. Then it looks like he was away with the U.S. men's national team. And we could look at scroll down a little bit. We can look at more some of these notes here. Okay, it was a groin injury. He suffered a groin injury at the end of May, training a little bit. It wasn't serious, missed a couple games, came on the bench, and then he's away for the Gold Cup, kind of thing. So that's kind of the information that RotoWire has, where you see these DNPs over at SorareData or even on Sorare, and you find out, okay, this happened to this guy, kind of a thing. And then also, I'll probably bring this up in every video, but we have projected lineups for MLS and for a lot of these leagues. And I trust these lineups more than SorareData has community lineups, which, okay, those are fine. But I trust these a lot more than just community lineups. People, copy pasting prior lineups in there. We actually incorporate suspensions. We incorporate injuries to our lineups, and that's what you get here. So that's one thing RotoWire will do. In addition to all the other information on SorareData. As you can see, this is the homepage for SorareData. And so, yeah, that's kind of how you start. This is the free amateur mode in MLS. You start there. My advice here, start slow, start small, and you go from there. If you want to buy one card, that's another situation. So I guess it's another video. I want to keep these around 10 minutes or so. We're already at 10 minutes, but the initial things I want to say is, if you want to play in the European season, I'd say get involved now. Figure out what scoring is like. Figure out how to actually put together lineups. Even if you know nothing about MLS, I think you get an account, get a lineup in and see what you're actually doing on a week-to-week basis, how you're putting together, 5 players on a team and captaining players and what scoring is like, and seeing what all the information is available on SorareData as well as RotoWire. So start small, start slow. I'll get into depositing in another video, but that's kind of the simple, bare bones look of how you're putting together your first team, your first free team. And then from there, possibilities are endless. But that's all I got for this show. Thanks for watching. I am at Zdroik on Twitter. Make sure to stay tuned to more videos from Undercooked. So